Haha, I got you, Platinumfish. Nice try. Wait a second. You're telling me these things have crowns? Hello, Fisher Fellows, and welcome back. I am Zygosium, and today we are going to be exploring all things fishing. The purpose of this guide is simple. Fishing can be tricky, and the game isn't always the best at explaining how to do it. I want to shed light on all the fishy details, and give my tips and tricks so that you can land the big one. If you would like to skip ahead, please feel free to use the chapter markers in the description. With that out of the way, let's get hunting. Fishing. The purpose of fishing comes down to you. Some people find it a fun minigame, some use it to farm guild points, others prefer the items you can obtain as some help with hunts and some are required for weapon or armor crafting. I myself learned the ins and outs of fishing so that I could complete my endemic life guide, which I did a video about previously. You can check that out by clicking the box in the upper right corner. Whatever your reason for being here, I can say that the fishing minigame is fairly basic once understood. However, the game does a less than stellar job of explaining it, so we will go through the entire process, start to finish, what you need, where to go, and what to do. To start, the fishing rod is obtained within the first 30 minutes of gameplay, received as a reward for completing the second or third story mission. Farther into the game, you will encounter Kanya in the Scarlet Forest. Her chain of side quests is how new bait types are obtained, and this will be important to complete as we get to capturing more difficult aquatic life. Once you have the fishing rod, it is automatically added to your inventory and item hotbar, shown as this symbol here. When selected, pressing your Use Item button will have you toggle taking out or putting away the fishing rod. The game gives instructions on how to aim your rod with on-screen prompts, but for the purposes of this video I will use controller inputs. While your rod is out but not casted, you can cycle through your available bait by holding left bumper and pressing Y or A. Once you have the bait you want to use, simply release the left bumper and the bait should be shown on the screen here. Holding left trigger while moving the right stick will allow you to aim where your hook will land. If you attempt to aim at a location that is not water, the landing zone will change from white to red. Pressing the right trigger will cast your hook to the desired location. When casting your line, try to drop your hook so that the fish is inside of the circle of the landing zone. This will allow for the greatest visibility for the fish and also give the shortest travel time so that your target fish is more likely to bite first. Once your hook is in the water, you have different options on what to do. Clicking the right trigger again will have you immediately take your line back in, useful if you have casted poorly or the fish has swam to another spot. Holding right or left on the L stick will drag your hook to the right or left respectively, allowing for small adjustments of position. If you need to drastically change the location of your hook, it may be better to pull your line back in and recast. Once your hook is in place, there are 4 ways to entice a fish to bite. Some fish will be attracted to your hook due to the bait you use and will immediately begin swimming toward it with no other input required. You can reel your hook in quickly by alternating up and down on the left stick quickly. This is denoted by your lure appearing to swim through the water. Alternatively, you can do the same maneuver but more slowly, denoted by your lure gliding through the water. By tapping and releasing the left stick down, you can jig the line, making your lure hop slightly towards you. Some fish are frightened by rapid movement or not enticed to chase if the movement is too slow. Some just need a nudge in the right direction, so these 3 different options are useful for different fish. Lastly is the capture. Once a fish is interested in your hook, they will swim to it and begin the process of biting. They may start with a simple nibble, but as soon as they bite, press the right trigger to hook them. When hooked, there is nothing more you need to do. An animation will play and the fish will be caught. If you pull your line before the fish has bitten, it will be scared away, requiring you to cast and re-entice it again. There are 3 clues as to when the fish has bitten your line, dependent on if you're using a controller or mouse and keyboard. The tactile vibration of the controller, the auditory cue of your hook going under, and the visual cue of the camera zooming into the frame. These will occur simultaneously, so once you detect one, press the right trigger to catch that fish. And with that, the basic part of fishing is done. This will work on any fish in the game. However, we are about to explore the 5 fish that add an extra level of difficulty to this minigame. In short, there are 20 different fish that can be caught, and all but 5 of them can be caught with the net. Those 5 that require the use of the fishing rod are more mechanically difficult to catch than the others. By hooking any one of these fish, called Whoppers due to their size, a new process begins where you have to battle mano a fisho to reel them in. The new mechanics employed can be broken into 2 categories: dragging and jumping. Unlike smaller fish, when you hook a Whopper, you will need to tire it before you can reel it in. Simply put, the fish will pull your line to the right or left in an attempt to unhook itself. Your left stick should be pushed in the same direction as the fish is traveling, right or left. If you do not do an input, or if you push in the wrong direction, the tension on your line will increase and eventually it will snap and the fish will escape. Following the fish's direction will eventually lead it to tire, evident by your hunter pulling the fishing rod upward and the fish being stationary. During this window, the fish can be reeled in by quickly alternating the left stick up and down. The fish will not remain tired forever, so do this only until it starts swimming again. Once moving, revert to the previous method of following its direction. Rinse and repeat these 2 steps, and eventually, usually after 2 or 3 cycles, the fish will be on the shoreline, and you will haul them onto land with a spectacular flourish. To add another layer of difficulty, the particularly energetic fish will occasionally leap out of the water. When this occurs, you have to quickly regain control by pushing the L stick in the direction they are jumping and press the right trigger. Doing this correctly will see the fish tire much more quickly, but doing this wrong will see the tension of the line greatly increase. When the fish jumps, it will travel in one of 3 directions: left, right, or up. Identifying which path they are taking can be tricky at first, but I will show examples of each to make identifying them easier. The most obvious direction is up. The fish will leap out of the water and its tail will clear the surface. The window to press the correct inputs, in this case up and right trigger, is fairly generous. As for right and left, the motions of the fish are dependent on the direction it was traveling to begin with. If it jumps in the same direction it was moving, then it appears to flop on its side. If it jumps in the opposite direction from travel, it appears as though it is falling on its back. The easiest method to identify the difference is by following the head of the fish, something that will get easier with time. Just as before, once the fish is tired, you can reel it closer by alternating up and down on the left joystick, and once it is close to the shore, you will yank them from the water and have one more aquatic endemic in your collection. And with that, the fishing minigame is a mystery no more. Our next and final chapter will be advanced tips and tricks to get the most out of your fishing adventures. Areas 17 and 12 are great fishing spots to catch fish. This goes doubly for the large monsters that roam the Scarlet Forest. Mizutsune and Uthduna can frequently be seen in these areas, swimming through the water or themselves hunting fish. If you are roared, tremored, flinched, or otherwise attacked during fishing, you will automatically fail the catch, so prepare your equipment accordingly. The first line of defense is the ghillie mantle and dung pods. If you see a large monster is in the area but not in the immediate vicinity, maybe equip the ghillie mantle so as to avoid detection. This is only a temporary solution, as the ghillie mantle will deteriorate if your fishing rod is cast. To make the monster leave the area entirely, use a dung pod and you can fish in peace. You may also want to consider a dedicated armor loadout to use when fishing that has earplugs, tremorez, and flinch-free to prevent large monsters in the area from affecting you, giving you a few extra seconds to try and reel in your catch. Whether you choose to use a dedicated set is entirely up to you, but I cannot stress enough that you should be using this next skill. Fishing for the Whoppers can be made all the easier with the Ranger Jewel, which provides the skill Outdoorsman. The description reads, improves fishing, grilling, and transporting abilities. What this translates to seems to be a direct increase in the amount of tension your line is able to withstand before breaking. Here we see a Gastronome tuna that I intentionally pulled against the entire time. The line lasted roughly 10 seconds before it broke and the fish escaped. In this next example with the Outdoorsman decoration equipped, the fish went through 3 stages of exhaustion, a failed jump, and roughly 25 seconds of pulling against them actively before the line snapped. This would indicate that tension is the key element of fishing affected by this skill. This was only a single test that I performed for the purposes of this demonstration, so I can only speculate based on my experience. There may also be an increase in exhaustion rates of the fish with outdoorsmen, but the tension bonus is more than enough for me to encourage this skill's use. The skill can be found in the form of a single slot decoration or on 3 different pieces of armor, the Gajau boots, as well as the headpiece square glasses. This skill unfortunately does not appear on a talisman. With your armor and gear ready, it's time to go fishing. The 2 most frequent places you will fish for Whoppers are Area 17, the Great Lake Shore, and Area 12 and 13, the ponds under the Woodwood Hideout. In each of these locations, there is debris, called obstacles, that can get in the way of fishing. If a Whopper pulls your line into an obstacle, they will drastically apply tension. The only option is to pull against them and try and coax them away from the danger. However, doing this also adds tension to your line. Obstacles are a no-win situation and as such should be avoided, and the easiest way to avoid them is by fishing away from them. The fishing spots in 12, 13, and 17 all have obstacles, located here. So how can you fish in these locations but not encounter the obstacles? Picture, if you will, the spot you plant yourself when casting your fishing rod as the origin point. Extending from you are 2 invisible lines that are creating an angle of about 140 to 160 degrees in front of you in the water. This area is where the fish will swim when hooked. If you stand in such a way that no obstacles are in that angle, then there will be nothing for the fish to swim into, removing 1 roadblock to catching them consistently. I find that these locations here are the optimal locations to stand in Area 17, and these locations work best in Area 12. We previously discussed different methods of enticing the fish to bite. The first method is using the bait they prefer, the second is in how you reel your line. From trial and error, it would seem that fish prefer the reeling method that most closely matches their speed. Looking here to these Goldenfish and Platinumfish, we can see different types of enticing used. Some are attracted straight away while others show disinterest. Slowly reeling the line enticed the bite here, and jigging attracted the same species just 1 catch later. But here we see that reeling slowly is too fast for this Platinumfish, as it skittishly swims a little ways away. Just recast and try again at a slower speed. If a fish does not immediately bite when the correct bait is used and the various types of reeling have been employed, do not be afraid to recast. Some fish are only available for short windows of time in certain weather conditions, so hooking them quickly is paramount. If the fish doesn't seem interested but you are doing everything right, just pull your line back in and try again. The exact same methods that did not work on your first attempt may very well work on the second one. Now it's time to put everything we covered together into our final capture. Seen here in Area 13, we have a Speartuna. Already decked out in a full fishing set of gear, we cast into the pond. As you can see, we already had our preferred bait queued up, so now all we need is that bite. Despite trying to quickly reel to match the speed, it does not seem interested in our hook. We quickly pull our line back with the right trigger and cast again, this time closer to where the fish is circling. Trying the same reeling method immediately gets the Speartuna's attention, and he bites. As it begins swimming back and forth, we match his direction with our fishing rod, and it jumps out of the water in a further attempt to escape. 2 more jumps, this time to the right, happen in quick succession. A short line drag later, the fish has become exhausted, giving us an opportunity to rapidly press up and down on the left stick to try and bring it ashore. While bringing it closer, the fish begins to resist, again quickly switching from directional dragging to jumping, first right, then up, then left. As all 3 jumps were correctly countered, the Speartuna becomes exhausted again. This is all we need to finally land it, and boy is that gold crown the cherry on top. I hope this guide helped you with fishing in Monster Hunter Wilds. If you liked this guide, give it a thumbs up. If you have any further advice for future Fisher Fellows, please leave a comment. And if you want to see what comes next, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more. Goodbye for now, but not for long.